3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast brought to you by Steelfist, and we are within 1 month of our next card, November 22nd. I don't know. This is No Fear. I believe it's called No Fear. And we have one of the participants here with us, Mr. Justin, King of Spades Carter. What's going on, man?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming out the long drive, making it through all the traffic, coming all the way out here to the studio. I appreciate having you. First of all, I said I was going to get away from doing nicknames, but you have one already set. It's in your Tapology, information. So where did the King of Spades come from?
Well, one day I was watching the Ronda Rousey versus Miesha Tate Ultimate Fighter, and I like Shayna style, I like Shayna Baszler's style. So I figured, I'm like a sophomore in high school, so I figured I'd tweet out to her like, hey, what do you think about me taking King of Spades? And she sent me back the thumbs up.
For real?
Yeah, I know. I was just as happy. I went and showed my brother, and next thing you know, I got it tatted on me.
Oh, that's sick.
No going back now.
Oh, wow. That's legit. That's the most legit nickname I've ever gotten. I've never had, oh, that's a lie. I've had one famous person tweet me back or respond to me on Twitter. It was I don't know if he's not famous here. He's a Canadian singer. But I was getting some lyrics tattooed on my arm, and I was like, hey, there's a lot of controversy if it's this or this. What are the actual lyrics in your song? So he tweeted me back the actual lyrics, and that was that. So that was this tattoo. Right? You can't really see it. It's this one right here. But yeah, so that's pretty sick. The King of Spades. I like it. Well, again, thanks for coming out on the show. So, again, going to your Tapology, says your affiliation gym is Nick Catone's gym. So you're not originally from Utah, right?
I'm not. I just moved here.
So where are you from originally, and what brought you out to Utah?
Well, I'm from the New Jersey and Pennsylvania area. Grew up and raised in New Jersey, moved to Pennsylvania for about high school. And yeah, I moved out to Utah for college pretty much, and it's really close to Vegas, so I have some friends at Syndicate, so I like to go down there and train too. Okay,
so you're bouncing all you got. You're one of those. Well, so you're doing what I keep telling everybody what they need to do, which is visit multiple gyms, be able to go cross-train, go to different gyms, get different looks. I've been promoting that, I mean, long before I was doing this podcast, and ever since I've been doing it, I've been telling everybody to do it. Closed gyms, I don't mess with that. I only mess, I like it when you can open your doors and get different looks. So grew up in Jersey and Pennsylvania. We already talked about this before the show even started, but how did you become a Saints fan? I mean, I'm wearing the Saints in respect of you today, and because that's my team, born and bred. But how did you become a Saints fan?
I mean, I started with football, and Reggie Bush was actually on the Saints, and I always imitated him. You know what I mean? Everything he did, I used to tell my friends, "Don't call me Justin, call me Reggie." You know what I mean? Ever since then, even when he left, it's like, well, I still like the team because my favorite part of the team is when they had, I think it was 2011, they had Jeremy Shockey, Devery Henderson, Robert Meacham.
That was the year. I mean, that was the year we won the Super Bowl.
Exactly, and I was just in love ever since then. So.
That moment in the Super Bowl where Jeremy Shockey's like limping in his route and catches a touchdown is like one of the greatest moments in football history.
Yeah, he won that Super Bowl with the Giants too, so he's definitely Hall of Fame likely.
Yeah, yep, I agree. This is an exciting season. I mean, we just beat supposedly the number one defense with our second string offense. Exactly. I mean, come on, man. How can you not be a Saints fan? People who don't, I don't get it. So I knew I had to get you on the show once you were like, yeah, I'm a Saints fan too. I was like, all right, well, we can get it. We can get this interview in. But anyway, so like you said, you grew up playing football. How'd you get into MMA? How'd that all come about?
I mean, I did wrestle in junior high. When I was in Jersey, I got into a fight. My mom was like, listen, I kind of did like a wrestling move when a kid. So I was like, listen, you can't do that. So I started playing football or whatever, and I broke my leg really bad, and I needed surgery as a sophomore. And I'm like, well, I'm not D1 worthy now, so I need to find something where I can still thrive and be the best and still be recognized and noticed. So one day, it's actually a funny story how I got into MMA and wrestling. I was actually at the movies and I was watching Fast Five and I seen Ronda Rousey. So I'm in school and I'm like, yeah, that chick in the red dress was pretty hot. Let me look her up. And I seen all her like red chick in the red dress, Fast and Furious. Ronda Rousey popped up, all her fights popped up, and I just started watching her. And then I was like, maybe I can do this. So then I started watching the guys and I was like, oh yeah, I can definitely do this. Like I get beatings every week and I still, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It don't matter. So like, sophomore year is really funny actually. As soon as my leg healed up, I broke my leg in probably August, fully healed up around like May. So I went to a gym. I saw what they were doing. A lot of people just hop right into it, but I had to pretty much study all the martial arts. I had to study jiu-jitsu alone. I had to study wrestling, boxing, and kickboxing, and all of that. And then that's when I trained them all separately first before I decided to start putting it together.
Okay. Yeah, a lot. I mean, that's. I think that's the way a lot of these newer generations are coming up in MMA. Like they're starting with everything all together already. You know, when I grew up, it was just karate, and everyone I train with is like, dude, you're straight up a karate stance. Like you're totally this side. They all clown on me for it because most of them started out boxing, so there's a much different stance. But a lot of these newer generations are coming up. These younger generations are coming up, and they're starting out with everything, with so many tools already in their tool belt. Like they don't have just one style that they go to. They just kind of have embodied everything. Yeah. Is there any one style that you feel like, but that is like your home style?
I mean, I feel like my home style is wrestling, but I started in boxing because I want to say I was in 7th grade, and I used to get bullied a lot. So like one of the older kids, I guess he was a gang member. He's like, listen, because I just got robbed, and he was like, listen, you need to go to a boxing gym. He gave me the address. He was like, go to this because they're gonna keep messing with you if you don't know how to fight. So I started boxing, and then I got into a fight. I mean, I didn't win, I didn't lose, but I didn't like back down either. Right, so they really pretty much stopped messing with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's unfortunate that's what it took, but for a lot of people that is what it takes. You know, it's self-defense is where it starts, and then once you kind of get a little better at it, you're like, oh, maybe I could do this for competition. Maybe I could do this for fun. So now you're here. Where are you training at right now?
Currently, I'm training down in Orem at Wasatch Combat.
I love Wasatch. I love Tandy down there.
Her and her husband, they're really great.
Yeah, that's a great gym too. That gym is pretty sick. I walked in there, we were doing some filming out there, and I was like, wow, I could get some stuff done in this gym.
Yeah.
So, who your coaches out there? Who your teammates? Who you working with? Getting ready for this November 22nd.
I'm working with Tandy's husband, Blake, for my wrestling. He's very dominant. As far as wrestling wise, as far as like my striking, I split it between Ola and Mina. Mina is really good. She's actually really advanced. She's taught me footwork and different Thai looks because she actually fought and trained out in Thailand. So everything she does is just traditional, you know. Same thing with Ola. Ola's kind of the same thing, but he's more of heart push when you don't have anything left or you're really tired. Get up now, go one more round since you can't move anymore. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's definitely been new and it's been pretty exhilarating. So I can't wait to see how I do.
Yeah. I would like to. I'd like to see that mixture too, especially with that traditional Thai, because I know the traditional Thai stance is so unique in that front foot's really light, but I also know boxing and wrestling, the front foot's not really light. It's more heavy set. So that mixture. I mean, you look at like what Khalil Roundtree does now with his Muay Thai stance, and his front foot's always bouncing, but he also is an excellent wrestler, so he's able to mix it up. So it'll be exciting to see, all that kind of put together. So you say your wrestling's your base. You're getting a lot of wrestling in right now. Is that what your main focus is in your training? Is that where, I guess, where do you put most of your focus in when you're training?
Here, most of my training is it's going to be my striking because I did some wrestling in high school, and then in the East, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, those places are predominantly wrestlers. I trained at Nick Catone's. I trained with Jim Miller at Jim Miller's gym. I trained at 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, and I trained here at MMA Signatures. And all all four of those places have some really good wrestlers.
Yeah.
So,
high level grappling.
exactly, some of the best wrestlers, you know. So I know if you Google me, I'm known for wrestling. So I'm not necessarily worried. I have more than enough film on him to know what he does, how he telegraphs. My focus has been striking because that's what this. I'm gonna make him stand up and I'm gonna force him to bang. You know what I mean? Like I said, I do for my training is I'll let them take me down, put me in whatever position. I need to get back up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's I keep telling a lot of these newer guys, especially people who are coming in, they're getting ready for their very first fight, and they'll, they of course they all want to know how to box, they all want to know how to strike, and I keep telling them, if you know how to wrestle, in the very beginning of your MMA career, if you know how to wrestle, you set yourself above everybody else, because that's the toughest and the hardest thing. So if you go in with knowing how to do that, you're going to set yourself up for success. Especially a lot of newer guys, they just love to headhunt, throwing wide hooks.
I watched that at the recent Steelfist card. I seen a lot of headhunting. I seen a lot of holes in a lot of people in my weight class, 135, 145. I seen a lot of holes in their gi. So I'm very interested to see how Austin's, what he got to bring to the table. Yeah,
you've got. I've interviewed quite a few of people from your weight class, and I do think, especially here in Utah, that lower weight class, the 135, 145, is exciting. It's fun. You're all fast paced. Everyone's fast paced. Everyone moves really fast. And I haven't seen, and as we've talked about, I haven't seen a ton of wrestling. I know quite a few of them have wrestling background, but a lot of them, especially early on in their careers, it's the head hunting, the heavy hooks, which is exciting as a fan. It's fun to watch people get in there and bang, but it's it's also exciting to see a lot of technical groundwork and stuff like that. And as you mentioned, people who've watched your fights, they know that you can wrestle. 3-0.
Yeah. Never lost a round.
All by decision.
Yeah. I've had some tough guys that are just really like, I'm not gonna let you finish me, but I've never given them the chance to at least steal a round or come close to stealing a round.
Yeah.
I'll always dominate no matter who's in the cage. I will never lose a round. I'm gonna push the pace. If you're sprinting, I'm gonna sprint faster. That's just how it is. You know what I mean?
I'm excited to see it. This is all of your fights have been out of state. You haven't fought in Utah yet, have you?
Not currently.
Okay, so I notice a lot of fighters that I talk to on here are like, I don't watch film. I don't study my opponent, and a lot of them, but they do go out to the event, so they've kind of seen them. But you're going to be a completely unknown walking in. But you've made it pretty clear as to what you want to do, which a lot of people don't give away their game plan ahead of time. I like it when they do, because then I'm like, that's how confident you are. This is what I'm going to do, and then you try to stop me from doing that.
Yeah, I told all my opponents during the weigh-ins, look, I'm going to take you down. My second fight, I fought a really tall guy. I actually fought out of my weight class. It was at 155, and this kid was like at least 6'2", and like, I don't know, it was a little chit-chat going back and forth at the lands, but I told him, like, listen, you're still going to lose. I'm going to put you on your back, and I'm going to smother you. And that's what I did, pretty much. Anything can be done. It's just disguising it. That's the thing I've seen about these 145, 135ers. They're going to shoot for a takedown. They go straight for it. Me, you don't know when I'm going to do it. Maybe I may feint and throw an overhand, or maybe I might, make you think I'm going to trade with you and then shoot for a takedown. You don't know what I'm going to do or when I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I think everybody knows it's like that Khabib. Everyone knows at some point he's going to shoot, but he sets it up perfect every time. He sets it up. He doesn't let you know. He doesn't just go in straight. Sometimes he goes straight in for the shot, but that's after he stood and bang for a little while. So there's a talent to that. There's a talent to being even just a pure wrestler who's just a straight wrestler. There's a talent to being able to do that right, because there's a lot of times that there are really good wrestlers that cannot that cannot do it because they don't know how to set it up right.
And that's why I'm very interested in fighting Austin. Like I said, I watch film on my guys. If I can get film, I do, because like I said, this is going to be my career.
Yeah.
And I take these amateur fights as job training.
Yeah.
So I need to watch, and I see that he doesn't like to set up. He likes to shoot forward. He likes to hop. He likes to hop a lot. So I'm going to bury that leg. Just pretty much, I just don't feel that he's physically or just technique-wise a better wrestler than me.
But he does have a win by submission.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. What are your feelings on wrestling versus jiu-jitsu? There's a lot of I've said it before on here. I think good ground and pound can nullify jiu-jitsu. We've seen it in a lot of people, but we've also seen a lot of good ground and pound people get submitted. So I mean, of course, there's no one answer to any type of fighting style. But how do you work your jits? Is it straight jits defense? Are you going for a lot? Do you go for a lot of submissions, or how does that all fit in with your game plan?
For this camp, it's just if I can't get up, be very busy. I'm always setting something up. If I'm going for something, I'm setting something up. You know what I mean? For me, I like to do sweeps, maybe, because sweeps and scrambles, maybe I'll let him pass. I feel more comfortable with him in my half guard than him in my full guard. Mm-hmm. So maybe I may let him pass, get that lockdown, electric chair him. I can do 10th Planet, Bethlehem, J.M. Holland, and Zach Mikowski. They taught me a lot of tricky stuff. So I'm very interested. And he doesn't look to really throw a lot of shots. He looks to grapple when he gets to the ground, and I love to grapple, so we can do that, and I will not get tired.
So being a wrestler, are you comfortable on your back at all, or are you?
Yes, a lot of times when I spar back in my gym, I take the guys down, and I've never been on my back for longer than about maybe 5 to 7 seconds in a fight. So what I do is I'll take a wrestler and I'll pull guard. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. And I'm very comfortable. They can throw as much shots as they want. I'm 100% comfortable on the ground. I can still get up and sweep. I can still make a scramble. One man cannot hold me down.
Yeah. I like it. I see. My problem is I think I get too comfortable on my back, because as we were talking and we started out when we were talking, like, I was never a wrestler. People think I'm a wrestler. They look at me and they're like, yeah, he's a wrestler. I never wrestled a day in my life until I started fighting. And I had a great jits coach when I started, and so he was always putting me on my back. So I just got comfortable being on my back. So people are like, they think it's weird because I'll go for something, I'll get on my back, and I don't really lose. I don't really feel like I'm losing even if I'm on my back. And so I know with that wrestling mentality, a lot of them are like, no, I can't get on my back. But as trained as you are, as much training as you put in, I figured being on your back wasn't going to be something that's too scary for you. So I do like to ask, like, especially early on in these in fighters' careers, do you remember everything about your first fight? Like, is it something that's just embedded in your mind?
Every fight is completely in the back of my mind. What did I do wrong? I'd win. I'd have a flawless victory. What my coach says, but right after the fight in the back, I'm going crazy. I'm upset. I'm pissed. I'm punching walls because I feel like I wasn't dominant enough. Every fight is always in my head.
Yeah. So, in that first fight, do you remember, like, the walkout, the nerves, everything? I mean, was it something that was nerve-wracking to you, or were you kind of calm, cool, collected walking out there?
I mean, for my first fight, I kind of knew, like, I knew I was going to win. I knew he was a boxer, and I knew, like, I can take him down whenever I want. But it was still, I wasn't nervous until probably when they were announcing my name. It didn't hit.
Yeah.
And as soon as they said go, it's like, okay, we're here.
Yeah.
You can't say, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not a sparring session, so you got to go out.
Yeah. Where were you on the card? Were you the first fight in?
I was the second fight.
Oh, okay. So I was the first fight in, and that was heaven for me, because I didn't know what was going on. By the time I knew what was going on, I was already fighting. So, like, I didn't have the time to, like, really get nervous or get sick. Because I remember before I played football games, man, I was that kid that was always, like, dry heaving in the back. Like, even though I played it my whole life, I knew what it was. I would always psych myself up for it. And that was like, my team was like, oh, Matt's ready to play. And so I didn't have time to do that. I was like, oh shit, shit, we're going out. Oh, all right, and then I'm out there. We're out there banging. So I always want to know, like, you know, what it's like for most people when they first start, because there's a range of emotions back there. Like, you've been backstage. It's the craziest thing. You have some guys that are taking naps. You have some guys that are shaking, crying, puking, and you have it all over the place. And it's the craziest thing to see how each individual person handles pressure. But again, I find most wrestlers, they've all been there before. You know, it's not really the biggest deal in the world to them, because they've all kind of been there before.
Yeah, I kind of put my mind at ease. A lot of people, like, I met a lot of friends at a lot of especially training partners through fights, you know, through the back room. I'm never, you know what I mean, I'm just joking around. Hey, what's up? Yo, you want to go get some beers after this? You want to go get some burgers or something? Go to Hooters after this? That's just the kind of guy I am. It doesn't really strap on until I'm getting ready, until they say, Carter, you're next. Yeah. You're ready. Yeah. And that's when it straps on. But I'm normally calm and at ease.
All right, I like it. Did you? And you did post on your Instagram. You were looking for a walkout song. Did you pick one?
Yeah.
It wasn't the one I sent you.
Oh no, I had to honor my brother. It was his birthday. I told him I'm gonna use one of his favorite songs as my walkout song.
Okay, you gonna keep that a secret till it's showtime?
Yeah, it's gonna be a real shock to everybody.
All right. Okay. All right. But are you gonna use mine at some point?
Yeah, I will.
That one's good.
Championship fight, next fight.
Okay. All right.
The belt, I will.
And that's very realistic. That's what it's going to be. You're 3-0, all dominant performances. If you get a dominant performance here, there's a good chance that your next fight is going to be a title fight. For us, for Steelfist. If you go fight for someone else, I can't make any promises there. But I know with us, you know, that's a good ranking and a good spot to be to get yourself a good fight. And you've got and the two people in the two divisions you've talked about are great fighters. What do you? I mean, I don't want you to look past Austin. Don't want you to look past that. But I know that you do have it in your mind to be the champ. You do have it in your mind to go fight for these belts. So briefly, let's talk about the other two fighters. What strengths and weaknesses do you see you being able to impose on both Augustine Valdez or Julian Ruiz?
Julian Ruiz, I like him. I don't like him, but I like his style. He's a really tricky striker, but he's too over aggressive. He reaches for his two. You know what I mean? So I know if I take my time against him, I can pick him apart. I can take him down. I can let him back up. He has that cocky swagger that I like, but it's just his striking is just not enough to beat me. He never really fought. I watched a couple of his fights. He never really fought anyone that would put the pressure that I would put. I've been rocked, and I'll still keep coming forward. It's pretty much like you lose in the gym, you don't lose out there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And for the other 130, Augustine. Oh, I was actually watching some of his fights when people told me, you guys were telling me, like, yeah, he's really good, he's well-rounded. I was like, oh, really? I gotta see this guy, you know? He seems like a cool dude, but he telegraphs too much. I break down his film to a molecule. He telegraphs every shot. If he telegraphs and throw a wide hook like he did his last fight, it's not touching me. I'm gonna make him pay. So I'm 100% confident that if that's how he comes out against me, I can pick him apart too.
All right. I mean, this is what I love. I love people who are ready to come in here and fight. I know that both those guys are game, and it will be a great fight no matter what. So that's fights I'm excited for, but I don't want to shoot past any of that. I don't want to disrespect the man you've got coming up November 22nd, Austin Atkinson. I mean, you said you've been watching film on him. You've talked a little bit about his game, and we've already talked about where you have the advantage is in the grappling. Him also knowing grappling. I think this is going to be a great display of grappling between the two of you, and it's really just going to be, you know, who is more dominant in their discipline, his jiu-jitsu versus your wrestling, The real question I gotta ask is, do you see yourself getting a finish this fight, or are you gonna be known for going the distance every single fight? Can we get one where you just end it and you don't have to do the full time?
I mean, Austin's undefeated for a reason. He's really good, but I still feel like if I don't finish him within the first or second round, it will be a finish in the third. I see some holes that I wanted to wait. I really want to wait to do the grappling until the third round if I don't finish him. But I really have confidence that I can finish him.
So that's where you see yourself finishing the fight, and you see it being in the first or 2 rounds, but you are guaranteeing a third round finish.
Yes, I'm going to double leg him. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to mount him as soon as he gets to the ground, and I'm going to finish the fight. I haven't seen a fighter yet, of all the fights that I've watched, get out of a full mount when punches are being thrown at them. So if he's not done, he's going to be done in the third.
All right. Okay. We have it here. We have it on film. It's documented. And then you said you're going to shoot a double leg. I always ask this because learning the game like you did, learning wrestling, I guess a little later, but growing up playing football, so you prefer the double leg?
Honestly, yeah.
I'm a single leg guy.
That or a double leg, or take his back and suplex him, trap his arm. Yeah. I know just a lot. Just being I guess the rag dummy, training with the pros back at home like Paul Capaldo, Justin Clark, those guys. So I get new moves that I get to learn and I try and master. So maybe I might high crotch him down, but I feel like the double leg is easier because I can double leg him in the side mount and step right over.
Yeah.
So.
But everyone's got their thing. I love the single leg, man. I love it. I keep talking to wrestlers. I'm like, why don't you come over to my team? Why don't you come over to the single leg team? But they all love the double leg. So I'm not gonna step on anyone's game, because if you've got it mastered, then you got it mastered. I just can't do a double leg. When I do a double leg, it's a tackle and I overshoot. I get too high. I end up being too high on them.
That used to be me.
Yeah, I end up too high, and so I don't like it. So I'll take the single leg and I'll do some work with that. I'm not gonna give away my tricks just in case I ever step back in there, but I'm a single leg type of guy. So we've talked about this fight. You got this fight. Again, November 22nd. This is such an exciting card. This is actually one of the first cards that I myself had done a little bit of the matchmaking on. You're actually one of the fights that I was in charge of putting together. It was more of me and Pat would get together. I would bring up a name, he would bring up a name, and we'd try to work out how to get those two together. So you were actually one of the names that I threw out there very first. So I'm super excited for this fight because I feel like this is probably one of my first fights I'd ever matched. But then this whole card has just come together. It's a real exciting card. But we have talked about what is next, and you do bounce between 145, 135. If you have your preference, if everyone's healthy, everything's good, and you have your pick and your preference between 135, 145, where do you want to be?
I feel like 135 at this. I'm still a kid. I'm young. I burn calories really fast. So
lucky you.
Yeah, and like 135 is just my size. I feel like I can do work at 145, but if you have the same arm reach as me, it's just not going to be a good night for you. You know what I mean? So 135 definitely. Me and Austin, I actually started this weight cut at 185. So Austin was actually, his team was actually nice enough to meet me at 140, which was really nice to them. So that's good.
Yeah. It's always. I mean, weight cuts are not great for anybody, and anytime you can get a camp that can work with you ahead of time, that's nice. The worst is when it's like day of and they're wanting to like switch things up. You're like, no, we've been putting in the work.
We're ready to go. First fight. Actually, my first fight was supposed to be at 145. I was playing college football at the time, so I'm playing college football and I'm cutting weight, so I'm getting weaker by the week. And when I get back home, they're like, I actually ended up switching promotions, and they were like, your fight's gonna be at 155. So then I started eating again and just gonna cut water weight, and then I think it got switched to like 158. So then I started eating, and then I had to lose weight because then I got a little heavy.
Jeez, that's a mess. That's a nightmare, especially for your first fight. You've got enough to worry about and not be down. I bet your coaches were hating your football coaches were hating you cutting weight.
I was not. I was honestly, I was on the JV football team for Ashland, so like they didn't really care.
Oh, okay.
But like the JV coaches was like, yeah, you're not strong, so like maybe you should actually come to workouts in the morning.
They're like, you better be fast because you ain't strong.
Exactly.
All right. Well, and so this is your first fight for us here at Steelfist. What's your experience been like so far with the promotion versus other promotions? What are we doing good? What do you like? What do you want to see better? You came out to the fights last week. Was that your first time out to the Steelfist fights?
Yeah, my girlfriend actually said, "Hey, do you want to come to the fights?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?"
Yeah.
I thought Mr. Ruiz was fighting. That's the real reason.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, I'll definitely come then. I got to see this kid."
His fight fell through at the last minute, and
I felt bad for him. I mean, at the same time, we're rivals, but I know how that feels.
Yeah.
So I felt bad for him.
Yeah, that wasn't a great situation. That unfortunately, it was when you get high level, you get people dropping out. You don't get people wanting to jump in at last minute, and it didn't work out. So of course we're trying to work and get him back in. I thought he was supposed to be on this card as well because he had mentioned that he was going to fight the next month, but he hasn't been on the fight posters yet. But maybe we want to get him back. But anyway, so again, back to the promotion. What have we done that you've liked so far? What could we be doing better? What do you like about the promotion as you came out and saw what we're all about and what the shows are like?
Well, first, I like to say the atmosphere, everyone there is right. I can tell there was a couple people there that didn't even, just like me, don't really know anyone on the card, just there because they love the regional, they love the regional scene.
Yeah.
So that's really good. You don't really see that back at home. It's mostly ticket sales. So like people there, they know someone.
Yeah, they're there for their fighter.
Exactly. So, and everybody was going crazy for every fight. So even if people were there for a certain fighter, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Because they're going crazy for every fight, and it was just so packed. The way everything was, it reminds me of my first promotion I fought for. Everything just like with the TVs, and they have it on the fighters. The ring announcer, he's really good. He's pretty funny actually.
Yeah, so, that's my boy. He's gonna like that. He watches every episode. He's gonna love that you gave him a shout out.
Yeah, so I think that's really good. And then the level of finishes is just uncanny. I can't remember the last time I've seen any card with so many finishes.
Yeah, there's lots of finishes.
So that just put a fire under me. I gotta get a finish. I have to finish this kid. He's good, but I have to finish him.
Yep. Well, we appreciate that. Yeah, that's the atmosphere I'm trying to bring, is what you mentioned, where people they're coming because they're fight fans. They're not coming because they're a fan of an individual fighter. Like, yeah, we want you to be fans of individual fighters. We want you buying your tickets from individual fighters so that they can, so it can help them directly. But we want to build it so every single month you're like, oh, it's a Steelfist card. We're going no matter what. I don't care who's on it. Is it November 22nd? We're going to be there. So I'm glad that was the experience you had, and that's what you were able to feel. Because that's really what we want to do, and we do have a good fight community in Utah. You go to a Buffalo Wild Wings on any UFC card, and it's packed. Exactly. And I'm like, all these people need to be coming out to Steelfist cards. Yeah. We're the #1 promotion in Utah. We're the biggest one. We're the only ones that put on fights every single month, unless Kevin and Pat are out hunting. I always give them crap about that, but we're the most active, and I'm always like, we need to get all these people out here. So I'm glad that that's the experience you had, and I know that when you get out there, when you show up November 22nd, whether they bought tickets from you or not, you're gonna have people cheering for you and going wild. Yeah,
like when I was back at home, before I even came to Utah, I immediately looked up promotions, and I seen Steelfist, and I want to say I messaged Tandy first, like, hey, I'm probably gonna be living in Orem, so I'll be coming into your gym, and believe it or not, I will be earning a belt sooner than later. If I was back home, I would actually been fighting for a belt because I had won a match, but I ended up moving out here. But yeah, I like it. I told Pat immediately, or Kevin, I told one of them, like, right off the bat, listen, I want to fight someone, I think they offered me some guy that was 2-3. I was like, no disrespect to him, I'm sure he's a good fighter.
No, that was me.
Oh,
that was me you're talking about.
I was like, yeah, no disrespect, but I kind of want someone, that's going to get that has a winning record, that's going to get me to that title.
Yeah.
I'm tired of waiting. I've been winning, and I need that gold strapped around my waist.
Yeah, no, that was me you're talking to, and I sent that message to him. I'm like, dude, I like this kid. We got to get this kid fighting. I'm like, he don't want a tune-up fight. He don't want nothing. He was like, no disrespect to that kid, but I want a tougher fight. So, we found one for you, and now we're on. So, November 22nd, everybody, make sure you're coming out. out. Make sure you buy tickets. If you know Justin, get a hold of Justin. Buy your tickets from Justin. It helps him out directly if you buy tickets from him. If you don't, go to steelfistfight.com, buy tickets. Make sure you're out here November 22nd. Do you have any sponsors? Anybody in particular you want to thank? Anybody that you're, whatever you want to give a shout out to?
Oh yeah, I do want to thank my gym. They've been working really hard, even though I know I give them all the time about all the events, drills that they make me do. But I want to thank all of them. I want to thank my girlfriend. Obviously, she's my wrestling partner too. I like to double leg her. She's my slamming buddy. I slam her down. And yeah, I just want to thank Steelfist for giving me an opportunity. I want to thank Austin and his team for taking the fight. I'm not looking past him one bit, but I have to go through him. I can't let him stop me for what I've been working for 6 years. You know what I mean? So it'll be a good fight. I'll put on a good fight for everyone, and hopefully you get the first ever fight of the night.
All right, everybody. That's Justin Carter, the King of Spades. Like I said, make sure you're coming out. Make sure you show up to this fight. It's less than a month away, November 22nd. Same place we're always at, same time we're always at. Get your tickets now and come out and watch this fight. This is not one you're going to want to miss. This whole card you're not going to want to miss, but as you hear Justin talking, you're not going to want to miss this fight. Thank you, Justin, for coming out on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, thank you for listening. Make sure you are following us on YouTube, iTunes, iHeartRadio under the Undefeated by Choice podcast. Make sure you're finding us on Instagram at Steelfist Fight, and on Facebook at Steelfist Fight Night. Everybody, be good to yourself. Be good to each other. I love you.